So, conflicting reports emerging from northwest Nigeria. Local sources say at least 3 churches were attacked and dozens of worshippers abducted during a Sunday service in a forest community in Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State. One church leader claims that as many as 163 people were taken by gunmen in a coordinated assault. However, security authorities say troops deployed to the area found no evidence of an attack, raising questions about what exactly happened and why accounts differ so sharply. The area has previously experienced sustained violence, with the Nigerian army saying it has intensified security operations there in recent months. As communities express fear and uncertainty, the focus now turns to verification, accountability, and the wider challenge of protecting civilians in regions where insecurity has become a recurring feature of daily life. So who do we believe, and how do we verify the truth in a region where communication is at best patchy? Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria in the 19 northern states and the Federal Capital Territory of Abuja, Pastor Joseph John Hayab. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
And thank you for having me. Good evening to all Nigerians.
So, competing narratives here. We have claims of mass abductions and official denials. Let's start with your version. The Christian Association of Nigeria says 3 churches were attacked during worship and worshippers abducted in that Kajuru local government area in Kaduna State. What verifiable information do you have that confirms that this attack took place?
Thank you very much. I think Nigerians need to know that this association called Christian Association or Fellowship of Christians in Nigeria is an association that is highly connected and work together. We operate from the national, the region, the states, the local government, and at the local government they operate at the world level. So our connection, our system of communication, passing information forward is such a great one that we don't have difficulties knowing when and where and how things happen. As someone who has served as Kaduna State Secretary for long and later the chairman of CAN in Kaduna State, and then I am currently serving for the northern region, I have this connect and relationship across the entire system. So once anything happens, there will be a communication. Currently, there's a chairman of CAN in Kaduna State. Unfortunately, on the day this unfortunate incident happened, he was out of the country, but he just arrived this evening. So when he was out, the practice is that they will send him a message and copy me. And a message came to my phone at 2:56 p.m. telling me that unverified numbers of worshippers were taken in this and that church. Cherubim and Seraphim 1 and Cherubim and Seraphim 2, which sometimes is called Bishara Cherubim and Seraphim, and then Haske Cherubim and Seraphim in the same town. And there's a nearby local Aqua church. Well, because we didn't know the number of people taken, they further sent another message to say, look, the people came and shut up the entire church and then parade them to walk on straight line into the bush. That was just what happened. Since nobody was there and the chairman of CAN for the local government do not live there, and there was already fear at the time the unfortunate incident happened, no one could verify who or what exactly happened. The next morning, we kept that and we were praying and just alert areas that we need to alert.
So the information first came to you on Sunday?
On Sunday, right. At 2:56.
The next day you're talking
about
is Monday.
On Monday,
right.
I think the first group that broke out the news outside the public is Sahara reporters. We tried to find out how did they come about it, but we realized that one of our chaps posted it on his Facebook because it happened. So it's not that it's some framed stories or some cook-up stories. So he posted it on Facebook. And that's why Sahara reported what she did as a breaking news. With Sahara breaking news, everywhere was loose. Calls left, right, and center asking questions. Is that true? What really? What is the figure? And all these things. I remember that I put a call across again to the chairman of Khan in that local government, Reverend Kaura Enoch, and he now responded. I said, Pastor, I have sent this to you since morning. And I said, oh, I didn't see it, but somehow I realized that it actually got hooked. It was the moment we spoke, then the message came in. I know more than 5 media's called. We're not ready to talk about it.
Right.
Because we wanted to be sure these things are handled in such a way that we'll understand. See, some good things have happened in Kaduna in the last 1 week. And we were also avoiding the situation that we would truncate those good things. The release of 2 pastors, Reverend Edie and one Reverend Enoch, who went for a wedding in Niger State and where they were kidnapped. The Niger State SSS got them rescued and brought them back on Sunday evening. And I personally received them. It was aired on your media on Monday. And then the also release of the wife of late Venerable Achi and her daughter, whom have been in captivity since October last year, and the Venerable was killed. So we have some few things going on, and we have this situation. We're trying to be sure we manage it and manage it with maturity. But when the pressure became much, we say, yes, something did happen.
Right.
And this is the number, because you know, sometimes numbers can be misleading. We are trying to be sure to ascertain. And that's why we are careful to talk about numbers.
Right, but eventually some of you or one of you spoke of up to 163
No, I did.
worshippers
I think some of these
abducted.
stories are very clear. I
Right.
did. I think one of the reasons why you are seeing figures flying today is because in the communication yesterday, in order to refute the story, there was a claim that, okay, if it really happened, show us the name. And before 5 a.m., the names were already flying everywhere.
So how many were they?
See, a lot of people were kidnapped. That's the truth about it.
Right.
So what we still keep discussing with government and security agencies is that let's not debate too much about number. Let's focus about were people kidnapped? Yes.
Yeah, but you have to know
Were
the
they in good
number in
number?
order to
Yes.
know
The
how
numbers
to
you
rescue
also
them.
read earlier actually is a clear cut of the number. Because,
163.
Yeah, because some
Right.
had to escape and return. So these are the issues we keep trying
Right.
to...
So at what point, I don't mean to interrupt you, but we've got to move on. At what point did you report the incident to the security agency?
See, the moment the incident happened, security agencies were informed. I think that's why we were a little bit worried and angry. How could security agents be informed and only to come out later and deny? How could security agencies even send a signal about this, which they know they do, and only to come out and say? So, you see, our very hard-working governor may probably have gotten the wrong information from them.
Right, but
they're ordinarily supposed to tell him, yes, we got this information.
But the security authorities say they, according to their statement, that they visited the area and found no evidence of an attack. So why is your account so different from that of the security agency?
That's the most unfortunate statement
Right.
coming from them. And I really sympathize with Governor Uba, who is making effort to make things work, and just have such statements coming from people who ordinarily will say, okay, we have a clear information about this. Let's do something. But to say it never happened. I've asked questions several. I've even asked them, how did you come about even saying those things? I'll give you one example. The council chairman who came to say he was there, he was the first to even give us the figure. So we are also shocked to hear him publicly saying he didn't know about it. He was the first to come there and give us the right figure because we did not even have a figure. So, you see, so many things happen. That's why we just realized that there was a wrong communication either by them and then, unfortunately, to the Security Council, and which fell, probably they know better. But there is something that I've given the foundation of our conversation here, that the Christian Association have a fantastic network. Before I will ever say a word, I have more than enough evidence to prove that that story is true. So we have done that for decades and have never failed. And I'm not saying we will fail even on this matter.
Right. Are you then suggesting that the security forces are mistaken or that they are withholding information?
Let me take the mistaken. If I accuse them of withholding, it will be bad for their image. But if I accuse them of mistaken, we have possibility of dialogue to understand what went wrong. So we will then begin to discuss, because there's something about security men. When things are right, they are your friends. When things are bad, you are angry at them. So since you still have another day to still need them and they will need you every day, so let's mind the kind of language we speak to them.
Yeah, that's
a
good point.
Sensitive issues like this must be thorough and must not be treated with kid gloves.
Right. You're absolutely right there. But let me put it this way to you. You said this happened on Sunday and you informed the authorities on Sunday. Subsequent to this, to that sort of information that you passed on to them, have you formally engaged them? You know, the Kaduna state government, the federal security agencies, since those reports emerged, and what are they telling you now?
I can happily,
two days since it happened.
And I can happily tell Nigerians that I've had engagements with the security throughout this process, and over an hour ago, we are all on the same page. This unfortunate incident happened. Innocent Nigerians were taken away from their church. There is no longer debate about it.
So when you say you're on the same page, you mean they've now acknowledged?
If they have not done to the public Nigerians, they've acknowledged to us as Christian leaders. I wasn't alone. I had conversation with them, including the chairman.
So they've now acknowledged that there was an abduction.
There was something, and people were taken, and they did give us a promise.
But
we will go after them.
Right. Did they wonder why you went public first?
No. We actually didn't. Thank you for asking this question. We didn't actually go public first. I did give a background here that the first group to ever go public was Sahara reporters.
Right.
Not me, not any kind of official.
So you were reacting to what they had said.
Right. The fact is that for us, when Sahara went public, we were put in a box because everybody is asking us, hey, what happened? And now, how do you start telling people, no, it's not true, and the story is here? You just have to, as I've said to some people, that, you see, this is a test of integrity. This is a test of honesty. This is a test, and imagine the families of these people kidnapped. You go out there to say they were never kidnapped.
Yeah.
How would they feel?
Terrible.
What would they take you?
Absolutely.
And these are the errors we believe should be corrected in the future, because it's like playing on their sensitivity. We should know that in the local community, there's a level you can suppress whatever thing you want to suppress about them. It will definitely come out. So whoever came up with that kind of idea actually didn't play it well.
Nevertheless.
But now we are not talking about that. We are looking for solution.
Right. But nevertheless, in situations as sensitive as alleged attacks on churches, given the international focus on Nigeria with regard to that, what standard of proof does CAN apply before going public? Because once you make such a claim, you can't easily withdraw them.
Well, if truly you know you make a claim and realize that the claims were false, you should be man enough to stand up and say, yesterday I told you that so number of Christians were kidnapped, but we realized we were misinformed. We should be that. Look, this is where we have problem in leadership. Leadership that cannot own up when things are wrong and accept and apologize and possibly take some punishment for misleading is where we have problem. So for us, we are sure of our story. We knew about our story. That's why when someone challenged us to produce the names are there. Let him contest the names. We didn't just produce the name. We have even the few ones who escaped with their injury, we have them display, and so many other efforts. So we cannot, and we have never, come out publicly to make a statement. And this about any negative thing for purpose of either injuring government or injuring someone.
Right.
We are just like someone who is in his house and there's fire, and he's crying and say, fire, fire, fire. You say, no, keep quiet, don't say there's fire. The fire will burn the house. So what we just did was, there was fire in our house. First, we wanted to be sure it's fire or just a smoke that we can put it off. When we realized it's truly a fire and we said there's fire, what we expect was, oh, where is the fire? Let's come and help you. But we got a shock. Some people wanted to turn it into something else. I initially said to me, they wanted to twist it into what was not. Whatever may be their reason, personally I felt disappointed, but I just realized that we are human, so people can make mistakes. So were there people kidnapped? Yes, in good number, and what we are calling simply is get our people back.
Right, okay. Do you see this as part of a broader pattern of attacks on Christian worshippers in the Northwest, or do you see it as an isolated incident?
No, it's not just in the Northwest. In the last few weeks, if not a month, we have credible intelligence of deliberate plan to attack Christians in Niger, Christians in Kogi, Christians in Kwara, and other states that are vulnerable for purposes of provoking anger, stirring up more confusion in the country. And we've told security agencies that this is a reality. They also know this.
And who are the people planning these attacks, to carry out these
terrorists?
attacks? Right.
Terrorists. I think Nigerians must know that the issue of terrorism is not an issue that we're supposed to get confused
I understand
anymore.
that, but
terrorists
the reason
are out to torment this country. Terrorists are out to further create confusion.
Yeah, but the reason I ask you this is because the impression that we're getting, and correct me if I am wrong, is that these Christians who were, or these people who were in a church who were abducted from the Kajuru local government were abducted by bandits, because from what we understand, some of them were actually released to go and scout for money.
No one was released to go and scout for money. Whoever gave that version of the story is actually cooking it from his room. They escaped.
Right.
We repeat, they escaped. No one. They've not even called to discuss and negotiate.
Right. So you can't say whether they are terrorists or bandits at the moment.
See, this differentiating of bandit and terrorism sometimes get Nigerians confused. In the recent month, we know the activities of terrorism in the northwest and activities of terrorism in some part of the south, north central, and even in northeast and other part of Nigeria. So terrorists are no longer hiding their identity. They boldly and confidently and arrogantly shows that they will torment, they will cause havoc. So when we begin to call them bandits and others, we are trying to lower down. Let me use the word of the president when he presented his budget. He said, any group that carries arm against Nigeria is a terrorist group. So if some people are afraid to call them terrorists, our president have done that before now. So calling any group that came to take away our people in church bandits is like playing down a serious matter.
Well, the reason why you say bandit is if they're asking for ransom.
Yeah, well, no,
even
if
they have ideological reasons, then they might be slightly different.
Even terrorists do ask for ransom. Their demand may be more than the cheap money bandits ask. So these ones have not yet asked before you end up. But for the mere fact that the president himself understood that those who are causing Nigerians mayhem are terrorists, I want to align with my president and call those who went to church and took innocent worshippers terrorists.
Okay, now people like the US President Donald Trump have previously framed violence against Christians as evidence of both persecution and state failure. Are you concerned that this incident could be internationalized that way, or do you welcome it being internationalized that way?
This is this opportunity we have as a country to use this situation to correct whatever story. And that's why I became disappointed that with the earlier denial. Because this situation was an opportunity for us to show that we have learned, to show that we want to correct, to show that we have the commitment to change things. If we simply, the security had simply came out that day to acknowledge that this thing did happen, but we will go after this because we have authority from president, we have authority from the governor, or authority from the IG, or whoever is in charge to go after anybody who torments Nigerians, and we will not sleep until we bring these people back. Imagine what Nigerians would have think. We wouldn't have been discussing what we're discussing today. Unfortunately, that was not taken. But we still have opportunity to remedy it by proving to Nigerians we probably didn't get the right information at the first instance. We have gotten it now, and we are going after them to ensure that our fellow citizens do not sleep any more night in the hands of terrorists, and we bring them back. You see, Nigerians just need this assurance and see it being put into action, and everybody will clap and everybody will rejoice. When we live every day thinking the other person is framing a story, how on earth would someone in his right senses sit down and just lie that so number of people were taken from his church? For what reason? If you bring politics into it, it has not even justification, because that local community was their total vote altogether. So there are sensitive things that we don't need to allow it to reach this level. That's why I'm so happy this evening that after all the noise, everybody have come to realize that, We didn't raise a false alarm. In the first place, we didn't bring it up, but we wanted to confirm a story that was already in circulation, and we confirmed what was true. If there were merchants at all, the merchants were those who wanted to turn the story upside down.
But you do know that attacks on places of worship, Christian places of worship, carry particular emotional weight, not just in Nigeria, but internationally, and in particular the US, all the way to the White House.
I do know that. Recently, we know what Trump tweeted after all the stories around about Christian persecution. But you see, there's also a development that we must begin to celebrate. When Trump tweeted, he tweeted it as if all the killings were Christians. Gradually, Trump, in the recent statement, also do acknowledge that the killings are on Christians, but also on Muslims. So you see, that's the importance of communication and good information. You can change the perception of yesterday into something new today. And our leaders must learn to carry citizens along and be open in their communication with citizens so that they will get information. See, what we know and what we see is far more than what the IG of Nigeria thinks he knows and he sees. I've ever shared this in your studio that many years ago when I was county chairman of Kaduna State and this kidnapping was rampant, and I called pastors to a meeting, gathered data from them, and I say, within this period, so number of pastors have been kidnapped, so number of church members have been kidnapped, and this is the amount of ransom paid. The then commissioner of police in Kaduna State, who never wanted such information, was angry and invited me to his office. Some of my men went with him. He was not even polite to listen to us. Arrogantly, he was shouting on us and passing orders. At the end of the day, one of the policemen, like Gamaliel, stood up and said, Oga, these people are closer to the grassroots. What they see and know, we don't know it. If we want to know, let's relate with them. I'm using this again to remind security agencies that this work you are doing is our work. We need you just as you need us. We must befriend each other to get information that will help the country. I am a Nigerian, a passionate, patriotic Nigerian. I love this country in such a way that I won't even want to spend 1 week in any country. I've been to countries in the world, and when I'm struggling to come back, they ask me, what are you doing in Nigeria? I just laugh. I'm more freer here. I'm happier here. Whatever you think, Nigerians, is home for me. So let's work together. We will nail all these things together. We will stabilize our things together. We will expose these people together, because there's this saying always that when you see something, you say something. Why are Nigerians not saying what they see? Because there's a trust deficit.
Right. But what is your what sense do you have of the long-term strategy that is needed to make communities in northwest Nigeria, but across, beyond that, I mean, Christian communities genuinely safe again?
I think what we want in Nigeria is every Nigerian community safe. When we begin to address it as Christians and non-Christians community, then we are further helping the division.
Yeah, I'm just saying that because that's the group you deal with directly.
But truly speaking, if my neighbor is not safe, I am not safe. So when the commitment is to save Christian community, we've not yet started. Because if the Christian community is safe, the other community is not safe, we still have another problem around. So we want every community to be safe. And that's where we must have an holistic approach to our security activity. We must carry citizens alone in our effort to unveil and unravel any security threat. We must win the trust of people to tell us what they see, what they know. We must also work together to ensure that what we do, they believe us and they know we are doing it well. So far, so good. Efforts are being put in place by security agencies to prove that, but there are still gaps, there are still lapses, and those lapses are the one we want to see deliberate effort to correct them, deliberate effort to put them in their right place. If we do that, then we can achieve success. But when we are playing security with this kind of denials, going backward and forward, then we also begin to put in the minds of people doubt. Even when we come with something genuinely tomorrow and we ask them, they will say, you've always denied, so we are not even sure you will not tomorrow deny this one.
Right. Well, I want to thank you very much indeed for coming in and taking the time to talk to us, but also to mention that if there's anything that Joseph John Hayab, Pastor Joseph John Hayab, said that the authorities dispute, they have a right of reply. They can come and reply to it. And Pastor Joseph John Hayab is chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria in the 19 northern states and the Federal Capital Territory of Abuja. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for having me, and I pray for a peaceful Nigeria and the safe return of our brothers and sisters who are in the hands of their captors.
Amen.